Well, I've got my Super Soldiers thing.
Okay.
I didn't actually do an intro.
You can put one in.
We should, so I can say, what up, you Super Soldiers? I'm Parker.
Yeah, you can just say like, what up, you Super Soldiers? Just say that.
I should be like, what up,
Yeah.
Super Soldiers?
Something more exaggerated.
Yeah. What is up, Super Soldiers? Or is that gay?
This is a little too Power Rangery.
Too Power Rangey? Okay. What up, Super Soldiers?
What's up, guys? Today we're doing a little bit of a different kind of video. As you can see, we're outside, which is kind of weird, next to this rustic barn. And I brought my friend, Parker Southworth, with me. Guys, his Instagram is gonna be the link in the description. Go ahead and check him out. Today we're gonna be talking about creatine and its pros and cons. And if you're someone who's wondering if creatine may be for you, or maybe you're wondering if it's even doing anything for you, this video is gonna cover everything you need to know. Parker, start us off by explaining what creatine is for the people that don't know.
Sure, so a lot of people have a misconception of what creatine actually is. And I'm gonna read you the Mayo Clinic definition, just so everybody's on the same page. According to the Mayo Clinic, creatine is an amino acid located mostly in your body's muscles as well as in the brain. Though it can be made synthetically, most people get creatine through seafood and red meat. The body's liver, pancreas, and kidneys also make creatine. So essentially, it's just one of the essential amino acids that your body naturally produces. It's reoccurring, and then when you consume red meat and other seafoods, it makes it spike in your body.
All right, now that you know what creatine is, let's get into the pros and the cons, and really this is why you guys are here.
Okay, so creatine is the #1 research supplement in the world. It's also the most popular supplement in the world. While it has many pros and can do many great things for your body, as always, there are some risks when you take creatine. One of them is muscle fatigue. If you take too much creatine or take it improperly, you're gonna find that you're really tired. There's bloating, dizziness, nausea, diarrhea, water retention, weight gain, and then heat intolerance and fever. Now, these side effects are not that common. It's typically when you take too much creatine, when your body's already producing its maximum amount, and then you start stacking it on in the loading phase is how you use creatine, and that's when these side effects typically happen.
These are the extreme cases, oftentimes when people are taking more than they need, or during that loading phase where you're loading your body full of the creatine. So what Mayo Clinic recommends as the loading phase, if you don't know, is actually 20 grams of creatine for 6 days on your initial start of the supplement. And then following that, you do 5 to 10 grams of creatine a day, every day, to maintain that level in your body. According to the European Journal of Nutrition, they performed a test on 18 basketball players, each providing them with 5 grams of creatine, and then splitting the group in half to have a controlled group which doesn't take creatine at all. What they found is that there was actually no lab abnormalities for the whole testing phase of 12 months. There was nothing out of the range in which it would normally be. So essentially the body was at optimal working pace and nothing was wrong. So the cons are bad if you're taking too much creatine. That's basically how it is. All right, guys, now on to the pros. Honestly, we looked for some negative side effects or anything really negative. We don't like to use a lot of supplements in our diet. We try to stay as natural with whole foods as possible. And the reality is, there wasn't a ton of negatives. There's actually a plethora of positives ranging from neurological effects to your physical effects of your body. So yeah.
Sweet. Creatine can improve your health physically and mentally and make you a better athlete in numerous ways. When you use creatine, it increases ATP in your body, which is the main source of energy that your body uses for high intensity training or high lifting volume.
Creatine can increase satellite cell signaling. What this will do is allow your muscles to repair and build. What it's gonna really do is get the nutrients to your muscles.
Studies do also show that there is a raise in anabolic hormones. IGF-1 is a huge one that gets increased. I'm gonna be totally honest with you, I have no idea what that is, but it's gotta be good, right?
This is kind of the big one that everyone really knows about, and why they use creatine is the muscle hydration factor. Creatine lifts water content within your muscles, which is increasing the volume of your muscles and in the end aiding with muscle building.
The use of creatine may increase your total muscle mass by reducing the amount of muscle that gets broken down during each workout. So essentially what it does is, instead of tearing all your muscles, it's gonna tear it half as much, let's say, allowing it to heal faster so you grow quicker, making you bigger, more muscular, have more mass.
Just jacked.
Fucking huge.
According to the Journal of Exercise, Nutrition, and Biochemistry, they did a study on rats where they took 6 rats without a source of creatine and 6 rats with this kind of fake creatine, and put them in different situations and tested their stress levels, and they actually found that rats with creatine were a lot less stressful than the ones without. And what this is actually showing them is that it mitigates depression, which is odd, but it's something to be noted.
According to PubMed Central, creatine also has many effects that are positive for the brain. It helps with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's, epilepsy, brain and spinal cord injuries, memory and brain function in older adults. Now, a lot of these studies have been performed on rats, so it's not really conclusive. However, there was a 6-month study done where children, they took a group of them who had TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, and observed from the use of creatine for 6 months, a 70% reduction in fatigue and a 50% reduction in dizziness.
That's huge. That's a very large number of kids for just taking a very minimal supplement that's widely available to everyone out there. According to the Journal of Affective Disorders, they did a study on 18 individuals with bipolar depression, and then as well 18 people who were considered to be within normal cognitive function. And what they found when adding creatine and having control groups in both of the scenarios is that in both, creatine actually improved verbal fluency. So being able to speak more clearly and concisely just by using creatine.
Creatine helps with the mental things, Parkinson's.
Wait for this.
Yeah.
You just haul your stuff around here.
Well, we're trying to fucking record.
This is a park with a barn in it, dude.
You fucking
Can't
asshole.
you see what we're doing?
Dick. Small dick guy, probably.
Yeah, dude.
Trying to compensate.
Just compensating. It's not like that's your career or anything.
Little bitch. So while we were talking about how creatine helps out with mental illnesses and diseases such as Parkinson's and epilepsy and all those other things, it also helps a specific group of people known as vegetarians. You know, those people that don't eat meat?
Weirdos.
Vegetarians actually tend to have lower creatine storage in their bodies because they don't eat meats. That's where a majority of people get their creatine, is from the red meats and the fish. There was a study conducted where they took a group of vegetarians and they increased their creatine supplementation, and what the study concluded was that 50% had an increase in memory tests that they took prior. And that same test also showed a 20% increase in an intelligence test after using creatine.
To kind of conclude this video, creatine is one of the cheapest, most effective, and the safest supplements that you can take on the market.
Majority of people will find that supplementing creatine into their diet will be particularly useful with mental health, physical health, and all aspects of your life. Yeah, we basically just made creatine a lot of money, so.
Yeah. Creatine monohydrate is the best form of creatine that you can take. The one thing that we'll suggest is that you're not taking too much. So once again, during a 6-day loading phase of you getting on creatine, you need to be taking 20 grams a day of creatine to load your body. While you're doing this, you need to ensure that you're also drinking a lot of water because it's going to utilize a lot of the water in your system. After those 6 days, you can then lower the dosage to 5 to 10 grams of creatine. Any more and those negative side effects, especially diarrhea, are gonna come into play.
I was using a lot of supplements during my last prep for competition. I was using creatine on top of many other supplements. I went and got some blood work done around the prep time, you know, around the time I got done competing, just to make sure my levels were okay. And my doctor mentioned my liver enzyme levels were extremely high. So she assumed it was due to the creatine. That's also what I assumed. So after doing all this research, I kind of came to the conclusion that it wasn't the creatine that was affecting this, as it was the other supplements I was taking.
So after learning all of this stuff and kind of reading through all these different articles and research studies, I'm now going to start taking creatine. I've never taken it before. I want to see what it will do for my body within a month. I'll give you guys an update video about how it has affected me, whether it's positive or more negative, and that way you can really relate due to human experience. And then we should just cut the video out.
Sure.
Was that good?
Yeah.
That last part, that was good?
Yeah, that was good. Do you ever do like an exit, like, hi guys?
Deuces, that's like my signature. Deuces.
Sure. Did you come up with a name to call your people yet?
I was thinking homies and homegirls. Homeboys and homegirls.
If you make it big enough, do you really want homies and homegirls on a t-shirt? Is that how people are gonna know you?
So that kind of concludes this video, you guys. This has been KGL Lifts with Kolton and Parker. Deuces.
Cool.